the ecosystem of money laundering through these organizations is as clear cut and dry as you can possibly imagine. Opaque by design. Nobody even knows that these mechanisms exist for you to verify what is publicly available, but not what is not publicly available. And in the context of what we've been witnessing, to say that we've been seeing inorganic, the opposite of grassroots type influencer support, it's so obvious that the only people who don't appreciate it are Democrats. I'm joking. Are idiots. People who can't seem to find their nose in front of their face. There was such a coordinated effort to put out messaging that you would be stupid not to understand that it is, in fact, the opposite of grassroots. And I was listening to Bourbon with Barnes yesterday, not while I was jogging, but while I was doing what parents do, which is apparently a professional chauffeurs. And I never appreciated the idea that AstroTurf, which is, we all know what AstroTurf means. It means, like, to make a fake base, to make a fake field, that it looks natural, but it's not natural. I never really appreciated that it's called AstroTurf because it's the exact opposite of grassroots. Grassroots is from the ground up, natural, organic, by the community. AstroTurf is the exact opposite. Fake grass. It looks like grass. It looks like grassroots, but it's fake and it burns the shit out of your knees when you play soccer on it. If you haven't seen this, I'm not going to play the full 4 minutes. And I don't get, I would say, I don't want to say get many because I don't get any. And I don't want to pretend like I actually get requests to do paid tweets because I don't. And I think I take it as a compliment because I would not take money to put out a tweet. Sponsorship's one thing and you identify the sponsorship when you do it. And it happened once where, people send me tweets and they say, hey, you mind resharing? 95% of the time, they're friends and people that I trust. And you do or you don't, depending on your level of interest in the subject matter. I once found out that some of the tweets that I was retweeting out of my own interest that were coming from people I contacted were being tallied for internet metrics, which kind of pissed me off. But I don't get these requests to, hey, Viva, would you mind putting out this messaging and, we'll pay you, I don't know, $1,000. How much do they get paid? How much is their soul worth? But when you understand how it works, and this is how it works, the messaging comes in, hey man, make it your own, but put out something along the lines of, if you don't support what's going on in LA, you're a bad person. It's a civil offense to enter and remain in a country illegally. Yeah, much like jaywalking is a civil offense. Much like, drinking and driving is a civil offense. Don't take any of these idiots' advice. You will end up in jail. Drinking and driving can be a felony. Entering a country illegally and remaining in the country illegally is a crime, not a civil violation. There's a civil element to it. Much like there's a civil element to restitution, there's also a criminal element to breaking the law. Listen to this and tell me that you think that this is organic. And if you do, I've got a bridge to sell you.
Being in a country that you're in illegally is a civil offense, not a criminal one. You know what else is a civil offense? Jaywalking.
And being undocumented is not a criminal offense. It's a civil one. And if you've ever jaywalked, congratulations, because you've also committed a civil offense.
Right now, this is not an accident. This is AstroTurfing, paid influencers, and they may not be paid. Maybe they just are doing it out of the righteousness of their own heart or whatever they perceive that to be. They got an email, they got a memo, they got someone texting them saying, hey man, did you know this? It's so shocking. They're locking people up for jaywalking, the equivalent of. It's an effing lie, and I'll show you in a second, but this is not an accident. And once you can, first of all, it takes the aggregate knowledge of the internet to piece this together, because I don't know who any of these jackasses are. I tried to look them up afterwards. Let me see if I got a message back. No, I DM and I said, look, you tell me confidentially. I'll never mention that I've ever texted you. I'll never mention from where this came. Not because I'm not a journalist, just because I'm not an ass. Did they pay you? Did someone pay you for this? Or did they ask you to do this? Like, how the hell does this happen that three idiots, airheads, are talking about illegally entering the country being the same thing as jaywalking?
Have you ever sped over the speed limit? Have you ever drank or smoked underage? Have you ever drank and then driven a car? What about jaywalking?
Oh, that's felony. That's felony DUI.
America is
that vocal fry is enough to make you go crazy.
A civil offense. It's not a criminal one.
It's not a criminal one.
It's the same caliber of crime as traffic offense.
Just a reminder, in case anyone forgot, being undocumented is a civil offense, not a criminal one.
Okay, that's awesome. That's amazing. I'll give you this. It's an amazing montage. Google, is it a criminal offense to enter a country? So that's not a country. I know the provision to enter the U.S. illegal. Yeah, entering U.S. without proper authorization is a criminal offense specifically outlined in Title 8 of the U.S. Code. It's known as illegal entry or unlawful entry. Section 1325 and 1326 of the United States Code. You know what else is illegal? Drinking and driving. Don't do it, you dumbasses. Don't take your advice from influencers. What is clear is that if they're not being paid to do it, they're doing it out of the ignorance of their own souls. What's clear is that it's absolutely inorganic, absolutely the result of this type of funding, financing, money laundering that Data Republican is exposing and needs to be uncovered in its entirety. But the DOJ's got its hands full. It doesn't have its hands tied that we know of. This is where there should be investigations. This is where there should be potential money laundering, fraud. You understand that they went after We Build the Wall and they locked up Brian Kolfage. I think he's a double amputee. I think he might even be triple. They locked up Brian Kolfage, who is in jail right now. They went after Steve Bannon for the We Build the Wall because they argued it was fraudulent misrepresentations as to what the funds were for and how they were going to be used. Oh, no, they don't do anything. They don't investigate these political activist organizations that are funding and financing these protests, these rallies, these influencers. Holy hell. But wait, there's more. You want to talk about the dog whistles that are coming out of these Democrats? Oh, it was this one here. Was this it? LA mayor? They all know how it works. There's a reason why Democrats cry dog whistle day in and day out, because they understand what the dog whistles are for. Those influencers, maybe they're not getting paid. I think some of them are getting paid. I mean, it's a terrible thing. Maybe I'm sufficiently fortunate that I don't have to sell tweets per pop. I would never do it. It's disgusting. No one's going to tell me what to think. No one's going to tell me what to say, and no one's going to pay me to say it. You become you become a verbal whore, an oral whore. You become a whore. So whether or not they're getting paid directly, they hear the dog whistles. They know the wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hey, you want to have access to this? You don't want the mob coming after you. You better berate your audience into supporting the protests going on in LA. Otherwise, you're just a bad person. I should have played more of that because it was actually amazing. I'll bring it back up. Here's LA Mayor Karen Bass, who deserves to be investigated, who deserves to be charged for what she's doing right now, because it's nothing shy of incitement or insurrection in the actual meaningful sense.
A week ago, everything was peaceful in the city of Los Angeles and in all of the representatives behind me in their cities as well. Things began to be difficult on Friday when raids took place. And it's important that I begin there because that is the cause of the problems that have happened in the city of Los Angeles and other cities. This was this was provoked by the White House. The reason why, we don't know.
It was. Do you know what this is like? And I hate to use the hyperbolic, some might argue, insensitive comparisons, analogies. I always say, like, you don't need to use an imperfect analogy when you have a perfect example. Karen Bass saying that the act of provocation was the federal government enforcing federal immigration law is the same thing as a husband who beats his wife saying, look what you made me do. Things were going really fine until you opened your big mouth. Things were going real fine until you exercised your God-given right to First Amendment to talk to me. Look what you made me do. The riots in LA are the result of the provocation of the government, the feds, to enforce federal law, federal immigration law. What she's basically saying is, don't enforce federal law, don't deport the illegal aliens, and they won't riot. We won't riot. What that is tantamount to saying is, if you come in and try to enforce federal law, we will riot and we will burn shit down. In other words, we will insurrect against the authority of the government to enforce federal immigration law. Oh, but you got your bunch of jackass influencers out there saying it's just a jaywalking traffic violation. A, no, it's not. And B, drinking and driving is not just a civil violation. Create the false expectations, bring out the masses, misinform the masses, dog whistle the masses, and then blame the enforcers of federal law as an act of provocation because you, in enforcing federal law, are provoking the violent response from the criminals. That's insurrection. I've got to bring back up. I got to bring back up the that montage because I want to show you one part here. There was a great section where they talk about influencers speaking up. Listen to this.
Where the fuck are all these loudmouth ass celebrities and influencers when they get on this internet and they dropping music or they're dropping a collab or they're dropping a motherfucking beauty kit or they're dropping a motherfucking perfume? Baby, people are getting snatched up in the United States of America.
You reap the benefits of Los Angeles and you're not willing to protect and respect the individuals who are the beating heart of Los Angeles, then leave this city.
Ashley, I'm actually really happy to see you here. Does this mean that you and your husband are no longer big Trump supporters, given that you're agreeing with this video? I hope so.
If you are okay with the things going on in the United States right now, please unfollow me and never speak to me again.
If you're white and see an ICE raid happening and you don't get involved, I think you're a pussy. And I don't respect you at all.
If you voted for Donald Trump in the last election, you are a bad person. If you continue to endorse Trump and his policies since the election...
I'm noticing a trend here, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I feel bad noticing that. That's a lot of white women. That's a lot of white women telling you to go out there and break the law. That's a lot of white, bleeding heart liberal women treating their illegal alien population like their pets, like their personal slaves, because they need their makeup and they need their stuff cheap. They need their produce. They need their double mocha chai latte, and they need it served to them, to someone who they don't give a tip to that they can exploit. Yep, that is a lot of white liberal women, and I'm channeling Malcolm X right now. Am I wrong for having noticed that? Didn't even notice it the first time, but you scroll through this, like, bing, 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 bing. What did I say, 19 times? Holy sweet merciful goodness. That is the liberal party, people. Those are the Democrats, and that is what is going on right now.